In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to use the Portrait Magic Photoshop action to create some astonishing portrait effects such as the ones you can see here. And so on. Portrait Magic is more than a Photoshop action. It is a tool destined for photographers and artists that want to create high quality results very fast and very easy. This is our original image. And look at what Portrait Magic has created. In order to use this action, we will have to load the brushes that the action requires. So we will go to the brush tool and load brushes and select the Portrait Magic brushes. Then we will have to load the action, of course, from the actions panel. Load actions, select the action and load. Now we have the action available. In order to use the action, we will have to mark the areas of interest. So we can open a JPEG image in Photoshop. It will have a locked background. We will have to make sure the image is of an appropriate size, around 2000 to 3000 pixels in height is okay. And on this image we will mark our subject and the subject's eyes. So we will make a new layer and name it brush, and on this layer we will mark the entire subject, or most of it. It doesn't have to be all. So I'll go to the brush tool, select one of Photoshop's default brushes, bigger in size, maybe something like this. I will make it red so you can see it better. And on the layer brush I will mark most of the subject. It doesn't have to be all. This is in part the beauty of this action. You can mark your subject using multiple techniques. In this case there is a white background, so I could have selected it and select the opposite, which is the subject. But in other cases you won't have a white background, so you will have to mark your subject. Okay, let's say something like this is okay. Now we have the layer brush. We will make a new layer and name it eyes. Notice the capital E and capital B letters. They are necessary for the action to run. we will hide the layer brush so we can see the subject, and on the layer eyes we will mark the subject eyes using a small brush. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. Okay. You can do it with another color, whatever color you want. Now we can run the action. The action is selected, I click on play. The action is working. And it has generated a result. A result which we can and will customize in a lot of ways. First, because your subject has a white background, which is not very good for the effects to be visible, we will turn on the background darkness control. We can adjust how dark it is using a solid color inside, or we can play with the opacity, which is set by default at 40%. Okay, we have a lot of layers available. The action has created lots of layers, and there are lots of colors which we can change. For example, we can change something by adjusting this, setting it on, the background color multiply, which controls part of the background color. We can turn it off and change the color of the smoke, which is default black, to something a dark blue, or maybe a magenta. Or you can turn it off and leave this other one, or play with both, see what the result you have. Also, there is a backlight color which is affecting your subject. You can put something here, or you can use a gradient. The backlight backlight gradient color. Which works like this. There are lots of combination. You can make a lot of combinations in this action. You can, let's say we want to make the subject a little brighter. So our subject has some smart filters applied, shadow and highlights. We can disable it or play with it for an intense HDR look. You can make your subject have a single color. I will show you this a bit later. You can change the subject's eyes. You see the eyes color layer that you can change. This is the layer eyes. It has a smart filter applied. You can double click and edit it, and you will make the eyes pop even more. Say we want something green or blue. You can adjust the eyes layer by setting it on screen. It will be good for some photos in which the eyes are more well lit. They are not very dark as the eyes of our subject. The subject intensify layer has a high pass filter that is responsible for an HDR look. The subject color fill is responsible for the color tint of our subject. Let's say we want to keep it off. And let's say we want to make the background more intense. We can turn this layer on. We can work on the subject backlight color. You see what it does. It also has a Gaussian blur filter for making basically an aura of light around your subject. You can duplicate layers, such as this one, the central smoke. Maybe set it to 50% opacity. The color levels filter controls the contrast and brightness of areas inside the photo. The background layer copy has a Gaussian blur filter that is disabled, but you can enable it, and then in its layer mask you can use Photoshop's default round brush with a black color to add some blurs around the shoulders of your subject. Let's say we want to add more. The beauty of this action is that you don't have to brush your entire subject, which can be a pain sometimes if your subject has hair or is very complex. And you have a lot of customization possibilities. That you can achieve. In this image, for example, I ran the effect, the action 2 times, and I overlapped the resulting images. So you have some areas of high color intensity. There are some adjustments you can make to your subject. For example, we select our subject, we select the subject's mask, and we can, using a small brush, or maybe a bigger one, we can add some effect over this guy's shoulders just by using the brush and painting in this mask. Or maybe play a bit with his hair and add something here. You can use your images of any subject with this action. You won't have to worry about masking the hair or making precise selections. The action will work for you. Look at this image and the hair of this guy. The action has no problems with your subject. Thank thank you very much for watching my tutorial. If you have more questions or comments, you can find this item on Graphic River, and you can contact me on the Graphic River profile page of mine. Thank you very much.